What is up, survivors? We're back for another mod review, and for today's mod review, going over Zytharian Critters. Now, this is a lot of cosmetic, but a pretty big creature mod, so let's get into it. Right away, there's a lot of creatures out here, and we're going to go kind of over all of them. It's not everyone that's in this mod, however, you are going to need this skin crafting bench. Bench is auto-unlocked to just level 1, it's just hide, metal, stone, and wood to make it. You plop it down, and that will give you the added benefit of making some saddles for some creatures that don't normally have saddles for this mod, as well as converting some of your vanilla dinos over into critters that you already have. Let's get into it. So we have a couple different types of basically what we're looking at, and right over here is kind of our tech field. Now there's a lot of other critters that are in here. I got a lot of them in here, but there's still a few more that are definitely missing. These are tech variants of normal critters that we're usually seeing, right? So we have a tech Tapajara, which looks pretty awesome. I actually really like the simplistic like mesh with the wings on this guy. It looks pretty gnarly. We have critters that might look familiar to you depending if you're playing with other mods like the Tech Anki. The Tech Anki's out here as well. But then we have some wild stuff like a Tech Magmasaur. This is pretty cool. I'm going to turn my HUD off so we can really check this out. The Tech Magmasaur looks pretty cool. I love like the giant stovepipe looking. It looks great. I like it. Okay. Going over, we have a Tech Direwolf as well. So you have Tech Direwolves, robot wolves. Tech Bloodstalker, which I'm really curious about. I really like this guy, actually. It looks really neat. A lot of these look great, actually. You have a Tech Managarmer. We have a Tech Reaper. I mean, why not, right? This is kind of a cool one. This is the Tech Deinonychus. So the little feathery raptors that run around and grab people and make them bleed. It's kind of their take on it, and I really like how they decided to do the feather options. Like, it's very subtle in comparison to what if you put a normal Deinonychus next to a raptor, but it's these subtle things that make this really great. Now, to stop right there before we get into much more of the rest of these creatures, if they already have, these are creatures that already have a saddle, you can use the normal saddle. So this has like the normal Anki saddle, the normal Tapajara saddle, the Magmasaur saddle. All of those saddles work already with these creatures, so you don't need to make different ones. It's very easy to maneuver around. Moving over, we got the Tech Griffin, which probably might look familiar to other people that have used other mods. Typically, I use Kraken's Better Dinos, and there's definitely a Tech Griffin and a Tech Anki in there. So those look kind of similar. I think the Griffin's been changed up a bit, though. And I'm not sure which one I like better. This one actually has got a different vibe to it, and I really like it. Going over, we have a Tech Ravager. This might be one of my favorite ones, too. It's very simplistic, but the little things like the hollowing of the neck area to make, oh man, it's cool. I dig it. Moving over, this is pretty gnarly. We have a Tech Shadow Mane. I love the way the feathers are done and the hair. This looks great. Absolutely great. Moving over, we have a Tech Spino. That's one that I would have thought I would have seen in normal Ark, actually, when we had all these tech critters running around. But yeah, Tech Spino. The Tech Rock Drake, which is another one of my favorites, kind of playing off the feathers that the, excuse me, everybody's in my way now. Kind of playing off the feathers that we saw in the Deinonychus. These are pretty cool too. Bouncing back just a tiny bit. These feathers look really cool too. I like this style on any of the feather options using those. I think that's really neat. Turns out really cool. So this is, again, this is just some of the variants that you can have out here. Now, again, these are cosmetic, right? So, you know, we know how normal tech critters actually have a bit of a stat change. These don't. They're literally just cosmetic changes with these guys. There's a few original creatures to this mod, and those are the ones I'm going to focus a bit more on because they do have special abilities. But in the tech field, we're just getting critters that look like they're tech variants of normal vanilla critters. So let's go back into the bench to show you what I'm talking about here. You can actually, and these are filtered by type, which is really convenient for you. But if you have a vanilla creature, you can apply one of these tech skins to it and make the tech version. And just to talk about some of the ones that I missed, we have the Tech Megalodon that's in here. I think we have a lot of Baryonyx, a Tech Baryonyx that's in here. I think there's other sea creatures other than just the Megalodon, though. Oh, the Tuso. Yeah, the Tech Tuso costume. That's pretty awesome. There's a Tech Therizino. I think that might have been it. So I actually got a good amount of these guys spawned in. There's a lot of copy-paste spawn codes, but hey, we made it work. And they look great, and they all look generally how tech critters we would kind of assume that they look. I think some of them might be able to, maybe a bit more color in them, but at the same time, I feel like that's kind of against it, right? Like, at first I thought the wolf would have been nice to see more color in it, but at the same time, I don't know, because the wolves don't have a whole lot of different color to them. I almost kind of like it that simplistic, to be honest with you. I think it looks great, but then you have things like the raptor here that look, the Deinonychus here that look great, I think. All of them look good. I think some of them kind of stand out to me a bit more than others, but I think they all look good. I really like the Bloodstalker, but you all know I have a love-hate relationship with these creepy things. Finding over, another option you will have is skeletal versions of certain critters. This is actually a Skeletal Titan Boa, which is pretty gnarly. Again, skeletal is just costumes. It's just going to change how they look, really. But yeah, a Titan Boa with a skeleton costume. I don't know why that creeps me out as much as it does, but it creeps me out. I like it though. The Skeletal Thylacoleo. That's an interesting one. I like this. It looks really great. And we also have the Skeletal Rock Golem, which just looks so damn gnarly. You know what I didn't check though? If I disguise you as a rock, what do you do? Do you still look like no, he looks like a pile of bones. That's awesome. I love it. I was really hoping that's what he would look like. I'm really glad that he does. Oh, that's cool. Might be one of my favorite ones, actually. All right, so let's get back through and check, because there were a few other ones that we didn't talk about that are in here as well. And we'll go over the skins in here. We have a Rock Drake bone, the Titan Boa we saw. We have a Griffin bone, Spino bone costume, Therizino, the Rock Elemental, which I showed you, and the Thylacoleo. So not quite as many, but pretty cool. I like the option of having these guys out here. And like I said, these could potentially spawn normally where their vanilla counterparts would spawn, right? So if you're using this mod on, let's say, the island where we're at now, well, Bloodstalkers aren't on the island. So you would have to either add a different mod to have Bloodstalkers spawn on the island, or just simply play on a map that already has them there. That's how you're going to get it. Moving over, we got some feathered critters, which... again, cosmetic, but I actually kind of like this idea. So this is the feathered T-Rex right here. And again, it operates just like a normal T-Rex, but with feathers. And the same goes for the Giga, a feathered Giga as well, which is kind of a subtle, but I don't know. It just makes more sense, right? So I see a lot of times in like Arctic environments, I see these guys hanging around and I'm kind of like, how are you doing that? The feathered option makes it a little bit more believable. Why are you eyeballing me like that? You're tamed. Remember that. Don't you be getting all crazy on me. But yeah, I think they look really good like that. There's a few other feathered options, I believe, and I was going to look that up as well while we're here. Actually, no, there's just one more, and that is a feathered corrupt rock drake. So you can actually get corrupted dinos in here too. That is one that I didn't talk about. There's a corrupted Bronto costume, and I think a corrupted Therizino costume as well that you can use. But once again, these guys, they're just cosmetic is what we're looking at here. Just cosmetic. These are some of the creatures that are kind of specially for this mod. There's another serpent creature that's like an underwater creature called a Vepent, but you can be able to look that guy up because we'll have a link to the workshop in the description of the video so you guys can check that out. But this is just some of them. God, there was just so much going on in here. There's so many critters. I love it. Anyway. First is the Dodo Reaper. Now, this is basically exactly like a Reaper. Same stats, same general size, all that stuff. It's just skinned up to be the Dodo Reaper, and you can be able to have a Dodo Reaper and run it around and do Dodo Reaper things in a Dodo Reaper fashion, which looks menacing. Honestly, I think this is scarier than a normal Reaper. Really. Moving over to the, I think it's the Skrillsaur? Is that what it is? Skrillsaur? Yeah. So what you're looking at is kind of an aloe-sized animal, but not the pack hunting thing. So it gets a little bit beefier stats because it doesn't get the pack bonus, but that's what we're looking at here. And this thing looks wild. Stop looking at me. Can I disable this so you stop looking at me with your crazy eyeballs and your menacing teeth? This is a pretty cool sculpt though. I can't lie. That looks pretty menacing if you were to see that out in the wild. But basically, yeah, you're kind of looking at a sort of an Allosaurus, like what a lone hunting Allosaurus would get. So a bit better stats, but all in all, Pretty balanced, I think. This guy does have his own saddle. You'll be able to make that over there on that bench over yonder. All right, the other one is the Direwolf, I think is how this guy's pronounced. You guys know I can't pronounce anything. Direwolf? Direwolf? Direwolf. That's what I'm going to pronounce you. This is basically a Ravager. There's no different stat change. It just looks different than a Ravager. It's just a cosmetic change on this guy. But I gotta say, I really like this one. I actually wish it had a bit different stats on it. That'd be kind of cool. Something like some special abilities going on with the horns or something. But I guess Ravagers already have a bleed attack, so this kind of works. But it looks good. I'll dig the head. I like the crazy eyeballs on some of these too. The mouth looks wild too. It's like you think like you're thinking Ravager body, but then it's this crazy menacing mouth. It's like part lizard, part, I don't know, beetle almost when I look at the top of it, but man, it looks crazy looking. All right, one of the other two, these two are kind of the staples, I would say. Probably two of the most important ones considering the abilities that they have. The guy in white is called a plate wyvern, while the guy over here is called a metal wyvern. These are different wyverns that will spawn on maps that have wyverns, or you'll have to use something like simple spawners in order to get the nest to what's the word I'm looking for? Spawn. That's what I'm looking for. Spawn. You would think I'd be used to saying that word doing all these reviews and playing the crap out of this game. Let's check out the metal wyvern first. So this is kind of cool. It has a different breath attack that shoots like these metal shards out. I'm trying to get over here so I don't just shoot a bunch of my own stuff with this. It seems like a really rotten thing to do. But as you can see, it pretty much controls like a wyvern do, you know? But instead, it shoots these crazy metal spikes out of his head. I'm gonna kind of K mode so I can like really see. Oh my god. I would not want to be on the receiving end of that at all. It's just straight up damage attack. I think there was a mention in the Steam Workshop that this guy might transfer into more of a bleeding attack instead. But right now it looks like it's just like a straight damage, but it's pretty high. And the sculpt looks fantastic. But other than that, what we're looking at is basically a wyvern, right? The same stats as a wyvern, but the body looks crazy. I love all the different spikes coming up the chest, and the horns on the head look great. Like the way they kind of round in, almost like a ram, but looks fantastic. But again, these guys function pretty much like wyverns with the exception of that special breath attack that is basically specifically their own. It looks like the metal shard breath attack on this guy is kind of short range too, so it's not like crazy long range. Like think more like fire wyvern and less blood wyvern, poison wyvern as far as distance of shot goes. So let's go over and take a look at the plate wyvern. Now the plate wyvern is a little bit different. This has like a stone breath attack apparently, and it's going to be able to like turn things into stone when we shoot them. So let's, we gotta science this thing, right? Let's see what happens. Now it's a short range. Go away. No. Did it not work? All that worked. That guy's a rock. Look at him. He's frozen. Ah, I like it. That is incredibly useful. Oh man, especially with wyverns, because it's very easy for stuff to kind of run up underneath you and be a pain in the butt, and the option to just turn them into stone before they get there and take them out. Oh, that definitely kind of fixes one of the drawbacks to a wyvern for sure. Like being able to get up underneath of it, this kind of negates that. So very helpful, very useful, I think so. Awesome. And it also looks like they take extra damage when they are rocks, right? So when you turn them into a rock, they're going to take more damage. And again, the sculpt looks fantastic on these guys too. I love the horns. The horns look so much better, and I like the vertebrae. The backbone on this guy looks really crazy with the rock textures on the vertebrae and everything. Very nice, very nice. Yes, you're gorgeous. Yes, you are. I know you. You know you're gorgeous, don't you? We both know it. All right, so let's talk about some of the saddles that you're going to need still. In your general saddle section, you'll have the Scrollsaur saddle will be there. But then you also have the Tech Therizino saddle because there is a Tech Therizino version. And I guess the saddle just kind of fits it a little bit better, to be honest with you. All in all, like I said, there are some water creatures to talk about. But with so much going on over here, honestly, there was a whole lot to go over already. This is an interesting one because at the front, I really thought this was more of like a total creature sort of thing. When in reality, it just kind of changes the lookup of a lot of the pre-existing creatures. Which honestly, I kind of like more. I feel like a lot of times we're playing on maps that have, especially any of the newer maps, have a pretty wide variety of all the different types of animals that we can tame and do stuff with. So the idea of just having a little bit of different variants out there is definitely a cool factor. Being able to play this on, I don't know, certain maps that it seemed to be more techie or more robotic, more sci-fi sort of themed, it kind of helps out because I feel like these creatures fit even more in there. Definitely. Especially something like Extinction, like seeing like the bionic Magmasaurs flying around and things like that. Seeing more of the robotic animals kind of roaming around seems, I don't know, it just seems more natural, to be honest with you, with the way that sci-fi kind of era took over when the newer maps came out. Really cool option. And then the option to really just have the skins, you know, if you can't find the right animal, you can tame the right one, a vanilla one, and just put the skin on it. Pretty cool idea. I dig it. In general, I just kind of like the variety. I like the different variety. So I'm a huge fan of different creature mods depending, but a lot of times just something like this just adds a bit of variety to a pre-existing map or a pre-existing creature layout. It's pretty cool. Plus you're still getting some different creatures roaming around out there too. I think you can combine this with something with other creature mods to really make the variety kind of huge, but this definitely seems like one I would check out. If anything, I would just like to see them do more tech versions of animals, more skeleton versions, more feathered versions of different tames. I mean, that would be my only really critique, really. Everything seems to look pretty good. Everything snaps pretty well. I was worried. Sometimes I get worried when we do tech versions and feathered versions of other animals, like whether or not the saddles are going to fit really well, but they really do. I haven't seen any of the saddles that look kind of goofy on the critters. They all look like they fit there pretty good. And seems pretty smooth, and there is an option to run this with Ark Omega as well. There's an additional mod that you can load so that these creatures work on that as well. That Magmasaur has been eyeballing me for like the last 5 minutes, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Now, what this mod doesn't have is a Harvs Corner chili pepper helmet floating around in the sky. But, you know, there's always a link in the description for things like that. All in all, I would say definitely check this one out, guys, for sure. I think it'd be fun, add a little bit of variety to what you're currently playing. It's really not that big of a change, unless it's really not that much of a change statistic-wise, stat-wise. It's really just a change, just cosmetic-wise. I think it might add a little bit more flavor to your town, if you know what I mean. Someone please add a tech kangaroo. Just one. A tech kangaroo. Just please. Just one time. Come on. Anywho, guys, that is it. That is Zytharian Critters mod. We will have a link to the Steam Workshop page in the description of the video, so you guys can check that out at your leisure. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you all on the next one.